Cyberpunk 2077, perhaps the most eagerly anticipated game for years, is finally here, bringing a neon, grimy future to your living room, and if you're lucky enough, your phone. OnePlus has released a version of its most recent flagship that looks and feels like it would fit right into the game's tech dystopia landscape. Sadly, it's only available in China, but TechRadar was lucky enough to take the OnePlus 8T Cyberpunk 2077 edition for a spin. Here's what we thought. Let's get one thing out of the way first. The OnePlus 8T Cyberpunk 2077 edition has the same specs and features as the standard OnePlus 8T. Unlike the souped-up McLaren-themed editions the brand used to release, this snazzy new edition just focuses on a redesigned exterior and some exclusive software perks. That isn't a negative per se. We genuinely like and recommend the OnePlus 8T. But if you're able to get a Cyberpunk 2077 edition, don't expect it to take you into the future on its looks and interface tweaks. There aren't any revved-up internals here, sad to say. But for that appearance, well, it doesn't look like any other phone released this year. With a mix of glass and glitter-speckled matte black body with faded yellow accents. Matching Cyberpunk's color branding, it really does look like a future, gritty, sorta cyberpunky phone. These mount to classy yellow tabs that frame the lock button and volume rocker, a subdued yellow lip around the bottom third of the phone, and the varied text etched on the back cover. The signature OnePlus logo is in the center third. The glass front is unchanged from the base OnePlus 8T, but the rear camera block on the top left has been extended all the way to the top right. That isn't to fit in more lenses, but it does leave room for a yellow script, a huge 2077, and below it, neural connection status active, a cute nod to the cyberfied future of the game. In the middle of the camera block is even smaller text, reading Netrunner Edition, citing the game's term for hackers. We doubt this will catch on over Cyberpunk 2077 edition, especially since the game's logo is prominently etched into the lower glass third of the back. Otherwise, the phone is set up just like the standard OnePlus 8T, with the aforementioned volume rocker on the left side and lock button on the right, with the usual OnePlus ringer or vibrate silent switch above it. Will people gawk at the Cyberpunk 2077 edition when you take it in public? Perhaps, but it's not the most futuristic looking phone we've ever seen. Take the Asus ROG phone series and their Decepticon-like angles for something that we think would show up in a sci-fi product of the future. But on the other hand, this OnePlus phone looks less gamer chic and more like a stylized curiosity. We would be surprised to see this on a red carpet rather than in a sci-fi world. Looks matter, of course, but the interface touches matter just as much. Booting up the phone shows the typical Android launcher, and then there's a string of red nonsense code ending with an innocuous "never settle," OnePlus's motto. It's a bit silly, but given how little care gets put into phone launch sequences, it really sells the theme of the device. Then there's the Cyberpunk 2077 theme itself, an overhauled dark mode that alters the text, menus, and app icons with neon flare, making them look ripped straight from the fluorescent signage spattered over Night City, the main setting in Cyberpunk 2077. Which is all to say that using the phone is lovely, with each little wink to the game's world making it more engrossingly fun to use. They're the kind of cyber-styled whiz-bang effects most love to see in products tailored to popular IP, and they'd be very easy to add to other phones, if OnePlus and CD Projekt Red would allow it, of course. Sadly, we doubt you'll see these software features outside the Cyberpunk 2077 edition. It is an exclusive edition after all. Given this phone doesn't pack any extra specs or hardware features over the stock OnePlus 8T, folks outside China aren't missing much if they don't get this specific version of the phone. But for those Cyberpunk 2077 fans lucky enough to score one, it's got enough perks to justify the trouble of getting it. And if it takes odd back channels to secure a unit, well, that sounds like something Johnny Silverhand would approve of.
Way back when you weren't even an itch in your daddy's ballsack.
So yes, aside from this glass extending over the edge of the camera block, it's the exact same quad rear camera with its 48 megapixel main, 16 megapixel ultra wide, 5 megapixel macro, and 2 megapixel depth camera suite in the back. Likewise, the same 16 megapixel front facing camera, obviously a little harder to find up in the top left hand corner of the OnePlus 8T Cyberpunk edition than it is in the regular mode, unless you have dark mode on enabled. Pop open the phone and you get your cool distinct background, featuring the logo for Samurai, Johnny Silverhand's band. Also part of the Cyberpunk 2077 theme, the neon text and the neon icons. To make it look just a little bit like you're scrolling through some choices in a vending machine of the future. The eagle-eyed among you will notice a different animation when you're scanning your fingerprint. Here's that again. And a sound, you heard that too. It's a little whiz, little cool on and off that fits this Cyberpunk theme. But ultimately, it's the same phone as the OnePlus 8T. Aside from the pins, the phone case, and the other extras that come in the box, you're not really missing out on much that you probably wouldn't be able to pick up on the aftermarket later. But for serious collectors out there, this is a distinct phone and a distinct version of the phone that you might want to hunt down if you're a true fan of the game. I'm David Lum for TechRadar. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.